Well, I think we are live, so I can say something. Well, hi everyone. This is Toni Weel from sunny Florida. No rain yet. And we have with us today not Sarah. Sarah is on a well-deserved and fun vacation somewhere out in the boondocks, I think. And she's not with us today, so we do have Tom with us. Tom Braddick. He's always a lot to share. It's and from the last time we had him on, I knew at some point, I just have to stop him because he has so many things to share. And we were talking about what shall we, discuss today? What is any topic? And it was like there are so many things to talk about it, and we all know there's so many struggles on our health journey, on our fruitarian journey, because the two things go together. If you are on a fruitarian journey, well, you are getting on a health journey, a healthier journey, definitely. There's just no way around it. You cannot really stop it. You will feel better and you will become healthier. But, we still have our struggles. And so we got to briefly talk about emotional eating. And it's one of the things I admit it. I absolutely struggle with it. And then we came to okay, comfort foods. And what is all these comfort foods about? And I feel it is like to keep us sick, plainly. I mean, what are comfort foods? It's the worst food that you can even imagine. And it's all fat and starchy and proteins, and you feel horrible after eating it. And once the moment you have to eat it, yes, it can be so satisfying. So yeah, there's a struggle we deal with, and I figured, okay, the best person to talk about this stuff right now is Tom. So Tom, I'll let you chime in, but I want to we have a guest on, Jamie, because I did say join us live in the discussion. So we have Jamie with us too. So welcome, Jamie. And if you want to say something, you do have to unmute yourself. And but just butt in when we are quiet for a second or so.
Well,
I got
I
it
want
right
to
this
thank
time.
you. Yep, I want to just thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you both. I finally gave up all dairy on February 20th, and I am a animal activist. I belong to Anonymous for the Voiceless. And so I am just so glad to be here to learn, and I'm going to take a back seat, and I'm sure I'm inviting some other people to come. And the invite went out on Donna's channel, but so I know we're not going to be alone, but even if we are, for you to tape this information is vital, and I thank you.
Yes, well, thank you for being here. I think that our usually crowd is not here yet. I don't know what happened, but maybe because my invite went out kind of late. With our fruitarian eating, I mean, I started this whole journey actually not even that long, but since my teens I've been into it. Went from macrobiotic to vegetarian to vegan, and but I have to admit I even did Atkins to lose weight. That was the thing to lose weight way back. I've had what they call the caveman diet to the to even keto. And it was all part of the journey I had to go through to get to this point. And following, bright minds, where I thought, oh my gosh, this is it, this is going to work. But in the meantime, I just got sicker and sicker. And I was like, what the heck is this? I was even on all raw. It wasn't, fruitarians do eat some nuts and seeds and some fats, but it wasn't working for me. I was like, it was awful. I was very depressed because I felt so bad. I couldn't walk, could barely move. I was like, this is the end for me. And this is where I actually met Dr. Morse. So I always give credit to him because he has been my lifesaver and the lifesaver for others. So when I learned about it, it started to click, and it was like, oh my gosh, this has to be it. This is also logic. So I started on that journey, and actually with my diet, all I had to do, leave out the nuts and the seeds and the avocado and the coconut energy balls. I mean, who hasn't had these delicious, we call them energy balls. It's nuts in dates and coconut or coconut flakes on it. Delicious, absolutely delicious, but not good for when you want to heal, when you want to give your body the energy that it needs. So when I started with my whole journey, thanks to Dr. Morse, this is now 4.5 years ago, I was so excited that I was like, I have to get the money together to study this. And this is where I became a counselor or a detox specialist and iridologist. And, from there on, it was talking to people, working in the groups, giving advice, helping people. And some people say, they call you a healer. I'm not the healer. Everybody is their own healer. I don't even want that responsibility to be someone's healer. I can only be like a tour guide. And you probably feel the same way, Tom, to get people on the right road, but help them understand the whys. Because if we don't understand why we do a certain thing, it's like you follow just someone else's instructions and you don't listen to your body. That is why I have not, we do work with a protocol, but the protocol is nothing more than the big part of the protocol is listen to your body. And it's actually learning that and your intuition. And should I eat this or should I eat that? Should I eat, last night we had the discussion. It was like maybe an hour and a half before going to bed. And we felt like, my husband and I felt like, yeah, we want some banana and ice cream. And nice and cold and sweet. And we have a friend over staying with us, and we see that, no, my intuition tells me I shouldn't do that right now. And this is what we need, listening. It's not like, oh, everybody else eats, so I need to eat too. It's like, listen to your body. So it's absolutely a fun journey, Jamie. But it is simple, and I mean the whole journey for this is, even in the Fruitarian groups, that's made too complicated. And like, you need to do this, you cannot do this. Well, you can do whatever you want to do, but you need to know the consequences. If you eat a certain thing and you feel like shit, then that was not meant for you. Then don't ask, why can I not eat it? Your body tells you you can, period. That's it. And going into the chemistry, why your body doesn't like it, that's not helping you. It's just at that moment, your body didn't want it. So you can have, maybe you have a melon and you get a stomach ache. Okay, next time don't eat that melon, eat something else until the melon feels better. That is, the listening to your body. Okay, Tom, you can chime in. I was already, if I'm on a roll, I'm just, I'm as bad as you are. I don't stop.
I mean, you're right. It's weird because every time, we talk, it's like those things that we talk about are usually going on in my world, like, especially like, I have a lot of friends and people send me a lot of, cases to me and ask if they can, if I'd invite them on my, my page and all that kind of good stuff, but it's so weird because when you've been doing this so long, it almost seems like you're assuming that everybody understands, how you understand, but we're all in different seasons. I mean, there's people that are, they're doing okay and they're eating, a horrible diet that, we did at one time, but they're not in that season yet. Like, to me, it didn't hit me until my mid 40s, like I said, I started this, I guess at least 2016, something like that. And that about 4 years, or I mean 8 years already. And I'm hearing all these things, and it's like they become so desperate, and they're just like, well, I'm willing to do anything. I'll do anything. Just this pain, this is that. My mom, my dad, whatever it is. Hey, it's 11:11 here. But but the idea is, as soon as you give them the simple advice of how to heal yourself, they turn coat and just panic and, I'm not going to do that. You can't. Fruit cannot do that. What do you mean? Where's the protein? Where's all this stuff? And it's almost like you get numb to it, and it's like, okay, now I'm able to kind of like let that slide off my back. But the cravings, I always tell people, because they'll just dive right into it, and they'll a lot of people do, they just jump right into it because they're ready for it. And after about a day, maybe a day and a half, they're like, hey, this is kind of getting harder to do, and I told them, I said, the idea is you keep wanting to be satisfied and full, and you want your belly to feel full. You want to feel warm as far as the cooked, fried foods and whatnot, and that strange sensation that happens to our body after we eat, especially meat. I mean, that gets into the adrenals. I mean, it literally, people think they're getting energy from meat, and it's typically that epinephrine, norepinephrine, the central nervous system type thing kicking in. But I try to slowly push them through this, and I'm telling you, the secret to staying on this type of true diet is never letting yourself get too hungry. It's like anything. You get too mad, you get too hungry, you get too frustrated, you get too depressed, you get too much of anything, and you're not going to be able to, hold the course. But this is just a thing of keeping yourself somewhat prepared each day to maintain this, because if you do not get hungry, you will not start to fall into that, like you're saying, the caveman or the keto type, mindset. And to me, it's just, I mean, I always have bananas. I always have frozen blueberries. I'll have those sweet frozen cherries. I have, the real apple juice, pressed apple juice. I have tangerine juice. I'll have blackberry, lemon, juice, medjool dates. I mean, if you want that feeling of being satisfied or being held, for about another 30 minutes or an hour, eat some medjool dates. I mean, some good medjool dates. Those are God vitamins. I mean, literally, they're dense like a brownie, and they'll hold you. And on top of that, you get the dynamic energy from them. But again, like I'm talking to several people right now that are contacting me, and they're going through. It's like, look, man, I'm not used to this. It's been a week already, and I've been really trying, and I'm, my back is in a lot of pain from an accident, in the past. And I'm like, look, that tells me right there that either you're not following protocol, or you're going through a healing crisis, which is sometimes you can actually feel the pains that you went through during some type of traumatic incident, even emotional, the emotional things could, not saying they would, but they could be somewhat brought back to the forefront so that you can eliminate it, so you can be done with it. You're I guess revisiting that as a body is trying to let go and release these things. But, when it comes to the pain, for instance, Dr. Morse had that one client, and she was born with spinal bifida. So literally she didn't have, I think it was L4 and L5 that she didn't have. And within 23 months, it was under 2 years, her body totally rebuilt her vertebrae, the two missing vertebrae, completely. Because, obviously with the crazy American diet we're on here, the body doesn't have the tools to be able to access the true literature book of the DNA, to know how to do it, and to know what's missing, to know what's wrong, and to know what the chemistry should be. Because I remember going into this fruitarian life, I was just brainwashed into, well, you got to have, protein, you got to have, your pasta and starches and, and things that are going to give you energy. And I remember, lost my train of thought there. When I played football, every time before the game, the night before, we would have this big spaghetti pasta dinner. I mean, it's complete starch overload. And they don't realize that that's a detriment to the kids on the field, playing. Yeah, you're going to get a sugar spike and you're going to feel full, but there is no energy, in these type of heavy starches, especially mixing a protein and a starch. I mean, that's just, people have no idea. But, when we're walking through this life, if people would just give it a week, I always tell them, look, just do fruit for 2 days. And for the most part, to make it easier, do get you the best investment I ever made was a NutriBullet. That was one of the biggest investments I've ever made for, $100. And blending whatever I want. And it makes it simple. It's like this is my typical morning smoothie. I'll do a cup of frozen blueberries. I'll do a cup of the sweet frozen cherries, and I'll do either the apple cider apple juice, maybe a cup of the cinnamon applesauce. I'll do a little BCAA in it, just to kind of get the aminos, which you don't need. But I have a very physical life. Doing peaches from pineapples, throw a couple dates in there. And that is the most packed energy breakfast you could ever do to wake yourself up. And what I like to do is at least 3 a day. I'll do morning and then sometime in the mid-afternoon, and I'll do something before bed. But in between there is when I do my other snack. And I might go pick some watermelon, pack a watermelon up, or maybe even some just different knickknack, even some fruit bars, or I even have a couple bars I shouldn't be eating. People think are healthy, but I don't, but I like the way they taste occasionally, and I always feel it every time. But the initial thing to help with the cravings is you got to stop letting yourself get too hungry. And people want to eat this huge breakfast and you're stuffed for about 4 or 5 hours, and at that point, the body's sitting here ripping away calcium from every vital organ, gland, everywhere, from everything to neutralize what you caused. So in this whole time frame, you're doing nothing but tearing your body down. You're not even giving your body the fuel. You're not giving your body the hydration. The body's becoming cationic. The mind starts to, go into different phases of emotions. Even to becoming more aggressive, stressed, bad moods, the whole 9 yards. But again, I fall to this same temptation that everybody else does. If I get too hungry, of course, I'm going to sit there, okay, you know what? I'm going to go have me some pad thai. I'll get vegetarian pad thai. Or, there's times where I want to go out and I'm being social and we'll go have fish tacos, Now, usually if I did anything, it's a corn tortilla with a single tortilla instead of the double one of corn. But I have these cravings too, and I keep that for my social, endeavors and whatnot. I want to kind of keep some normalcy. I see my life as normal, but if I'm going to be around people and special people in my life, then I enjoy doing that with them. I enjoy, having some wine, having a beer. Even occasionally a artesian flat pizza, pesto type thing or something, I'm not a crazy person when it comes to that. I'm a normal person, but I see my health as being foremost important to me, because as I'm already in my 50s now, you have to, be ready for the things that are coming. Some people are just like, well, you know what? Life's not going to go on anymore much longer anyways. So you can't look at it like that, because I didn't think I was going to make 25. And then I didn't think I was going to make 30. And then I didn't think I was going to make 35 or 40 or 45 or 50. And here I am at 52. So you can't look at it like that. You always have to do for yourself in preparation of what's to come, because you're going to need that. You're going to need that energy. You're going to need that ability for mindset and everything in these days to come. And don't ever put, anything on hold because you think that something's not going to be there, or you won't make it to that age. I mean, we've all been there. But again, ideally is the simplest way to do this life is to buy a NutriBullet and create your meals. And then when you do that, watch how your body will start to identify, oh my God, I thought I felt good before, but nobody's been to that point to where that energy just, it really cranks up. And it's not that you can't sleep or anything like that. I'm talking about dynamic energy to where you just don't get tired anymore. I mean, you could just go and go and go and go, and your mind is clear. Your thoughts are clear. There's no more clouds. You're not waking up to that negative, here we go again, waking up in the morning, but you're actually looking forward to the day, and you have to give your body the tools it needs. Because when I did it and I got to a point where, again, I used to have really bad tendonitis, and certain times I would get a rash here or there just from not knowing what the hell is going on with me. But when I found Dr. Morse, and I started watching his videos, and like I said, somewhere around 2016, somewhere in that area. And I remember, you know what, I'm going to try this because I'm a Virgo and I'm a perfectionist and I'm a health oriented type person. I've always been like this. And so I started diving into it, and grapes and blueberries and lots of watermelon, coconut. I started doing all these things. Within probably 2 or 3 days, all that tendonitis I had, the tennis elbow, was gone, but I didn't know. So I was just started shaking my arm around. I thought, that's kind of weird. I don't feel it anymore. Because at nighttime, I would go to bed and my elbows would be burning like somebody has a hot iron on them, both of them. And it's been going on for like 4 years at that point, every day. And my job was calibrating instrumentation, and I had to pick up the instruments and put them on my bench to work on them. And one day, 3 days later, it was gone. It could have been 2 days. I don't remember, because you don't know that, you're not aware if you're not in pain. So when you're not in pain, you're not thinking about things like that. It's like a toothache or a headache or whatever. You only think about it in that moment when you're feeling the pain. It's the only thing that keeps us, here in this solid realm. But it was gone like in 3 days, literally completely gone. And I remember telling people at work, and they're like, oh man, that's crazy. You got to have meat. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it was still new to me. But nonetheless, I started on this track, and I noticed that I would go buy, this is back when you used to get those good Florida sun-kissed orange bags, like the big bag of them. And I would just knock that whole bag out within, an hour or so. I just remember doing it constantly, wanting more. My mentality was becoming more and more at peace, less and less negative thoughts. My bowels and everything were so smooth and completely eliminating, to the point where even sweating, body odor was gone. There was no more putrefaction going on. Skin starts looking and feeling better. Muscle tone started to, just get solid again. And it's like, oh my God, all these things at the same time, you look back on it and think, oh man, but that burger or those fries or that pizza or whatever, it was always back there. It's always back there. But so is anything. I mean, you could be completely, at peace at 1 minute, and next thing you know, crazy sexual desires just pop all into your head because we allow ourselves to go there. It's the same thing as being way too hungry. Once you get way too hungry, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes, minutes later, you're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel like crap, because emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And then you're going to feel like, why can't I do this? So it's 3, and all you have to do for the most part is just taper yourself down, prepare yourself each day. I mean, the helmet, the shield, the sword, the belt, the shoes, breastplate. You have to prepare yourself every day with this. And it's just a matter of, you don't wake up one day and you're watching your house to make sure nobody's, walking around your house or outside your house or intruders or whatever. But you don't do that typically one day or twice a week. You're always doing that. That's why we lock our front door and we lock our back door, because we're prudent in trying to protect our home. But we should be the same in trying to protect our vessel, because this body is going to take us a long way in life, and it's going to be the strength we need, the protection we need, the I mean, it's just difficult to explain how important it is to do this. Like telling a kid, look, you got to save your money, kind of thing. They're like, why? I mean, I have to be without right now to have something in the future.
You know what, Tom? I think we haven't focused enough on the results that we want to have. At first, you focus on not feeling well, and you do want to feel better, but then you start focusing on the struggles. And that's what we started out with the struggles. And you mentioned, it's people get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Is hunger, they're not really hungry. I mean, it is just the addiction. The addiction that we have to food, and food is everywhere. I mean, we talked about that a lot here on this podcast. You're inundated with everywhere is food. Any party, any get together, any corner of the street, wherever you are, there's food. It's always in your face. Magazines, internet, TV. The food is always in your face. And but when we realize this, okay, what is it that we want? When you even start listening, you talk about people who have a certain pain. Yeah, you want to get rid of that pain, but isn't it that we then focus again on that pain and not having it? Or can we focus on, if I do not have that pain, then I can walk? For me, it is like, I have arthritis. I had this way before I started with this. I had psoriasis. I had arthritis already, deformation in my hands, fingers, and knees. My knees are pretty bad, and it's like, yeah, I want to be able to walk. I want more. I want to be able to hike, and for me, it is like seeing where I'm hiking, seeing that end result, and not focusing actually on the struggles. Hunger is, how important is hunger at a certain point when you have that beautiful image about your end results. Now, I do work a lot with cancer patients who are so focused on the next CT scan and the next blood result that they don't heal. And that's heartbreaking for me, because at that point we are still focusing on all the struggles that we have. And what you mentioned with hunger, I agree. You need to have enough food in your fridge. I always have the black grapes and apples and oranges, and I absolutely have no reason to not stick to what I need to do. And I do fall off the wagon. I mean, there is an emotional attachment to food, like we mentioned earlier, the comfort foods. But what I noticed is, you mentioned, try 2 days on fruit. I think when it comes to it, start slow. For people listening who are fairly new to this, it is when you start slow, it's like, okay, first, change your breakfast. Juice though, get a cheap electric citrus juicer. They're $20-$30 and they make your life a lot easier. And you juice a liter of orange juice. It takes you more than an hour to get that away, and you won't be hungry. But you still have like, okay, what is my next meal going to be? Well, you can, if you start and it would only be that breakfast that you change, and then do the rest, and then do that for the week, and then the week after you change your lunch. And if you had a salad with chicken or fish and with a lot of dressing, then make a salad that doesn't have that chicken. and still eat until you're satisfied, not until you're full. We all do that. We eat until we're full, and then we still have a little bit left on the plate, and it's like, well, yeah, I can get that in too. And then you start feeling miserable. So that is a mental thing that we have to change, because my childhood was, if you don't finish what's on your plate, you cannot leave the table.
Same here.
So yeah, you always eat more than you really need to, but we need to get away from that. And but then you already have changed 2 meals, and now you're going to do your 3rd meal. And that is why, you know, I always promote that mucusless foods list, and it's in the show notes, where it shows you what can you eat, because people think, well, I can only do grapes and oranges and bananas and dates, and no, there is a lot more. First of all, try out any fruit that you can get. It's fun. And be careful with the durians, because they are high fats, and if you want to heal, then detox, well, you may leave that out in the beginning. But it is like, you have to enjoy what you're doing. But when you mention that people after 2 days, they are like, oh, no, I can't do that, it's because they don't see the end goal, and they do not understand the whys. You know, what are the proteins doing in your body? Yeah, it's easy for me to say it's not important what they do, to not have to go into all that chemistry. Right. But we're not made to eat meat. And when you can show that to people, it's like how our body's different from meat eaters. And if I put a little lamb, you know, on your plate, and it looks at you and it tell you, okay, here's your meat, you won't eat it. You will cuddle with it. So it is like, for me, it is easy. Maybe it is easier for me because, you know, I don't want to hurt anything, any sentient being. I don't want to hurt anything that is alive, not a fish, not anything that lives in the ocean. I don't want to hurt anything. So I don't want to eat it. And it even make me sick to my stomach if I look at a cooking show and they put like, what is it? They boil that fish or crab or something in hot water, live crab. It's like, oh my God, how can people do this?
I hate that.
But and you will see more of these things. But for people, it is how I think everybody will tell you, even the people that say that have cancer, and they say, but I am on a very healthy diet. And you tell them, well, leave the proteins out. Yeah, but you need proteins, otherwise you die. And it's like leaving the protein. I don't think anybody died leaving the proteins out. And Dr. Morse will say that nobody dies on eating fruit. The thing is only, we often do it the wrong way. If I hear people do prolonged dry fasting because they have heard that is the way to detox, and another will tell you you need to do all these oily liver cleanses. And I don't know if you know Hilda Larson.
Yeah.
But she was in a lot of favor with that and with the dry fasting. She's no longer with us.
Right.
And so it is everything that seems to go to the extremes. So when even in the Fruitarian groups, it is always, there will be some that say, well, if you are a Fruitarian, you don't eat nuts and seeds. And then there's a whole bunch of justification why you can't eat the nuts and the seeds. Well, if I would eat nuts and seeds, I'm in trouble, because I'm still on the healing journey. I cannot say I've been doing this for 4 years. Okay, now I'm healed. And I know there will be people that come in that say 4 years and you're still not healed. It is a slow journey. And do
Lifetime.
I fall off the wagon once in a while? Absolutely. And do I get back on? Yes, because there is no way back. The way back is if I would eat as I did, I would die. And I could still honestly say, you know, even though actually we know a little better now, it's like, yeah, but I have a healthy diet, you know, a raw food diet. Well, I think that more than 50% of my diet back then was, you know, crackers, nuts and seeds, and pulp, you know, fruit or veggie pulp, and what is it, nut butters on it. Well, that's way too much. If we say, eat a few nuts, that means eat a few, two nuts.
Right.
Nobody does that. Well, normally not. If I had a bag of nuts, I ate a bag of nuts, If I had a bag of chips, even the healthier chips, not healthy, but healthier chips,
Right.
I ate a bag of chips. And that is just, we don't eat 3 or 4 chips. You see it on the package like, oh, it has 6 servings now divided in 6. We don't do that.
They understand the game.
I'm sorry.
The manufacturers understand the
Oh
game of
yeah,
making many
absolutely.
this,
But
many that, and you eat the whole bag.
yeah, but I still have to put it on it. But going back to how do you get started and how hard it is to find a balance. And for some of my clients, they say, well, in the weekends, I just I want to eat with my family and I eat whatever is cooked. And yeah, we'll stay away from the meat. But even if she eats 5 days all fruit and 2 days she eats the veggies and a cooked meal, she is still healing a little. That is her balance. It works for her. She's positive about it. See, if you start this and it is like, because I see that in all the groups, there is a 30-day fruit challenge. Okay, how did you prepare for your 30-day fruit challenge? What are you going to do after your fruit challenge? Back to what you were doing before? It's not working. You wasted your 30 days because you probably, if you just dive in, you probably get a lot of detox symptoms, not feeling well, and then blame it on the fruit. Well, see, it's not working. And that is getting so frustrating, and you get so many opposite reactions as how bad it is. And it's like, just go slow with it and understand why you are doing what you are doing and what do you want out of it. And I so wish that people did not wait until the doctors have given up on them, because those are actually most of the clients I get. You mentioned, you're in your 50s. I'm a bit older, and I ignored all the symptoms I had from my birth, But as a child, you don't know, your parents don't know. As a teenager, you get a little more aware and you want to dive in and do it better and do it differently, but you still don't know. I thought that macrobiotic diet, I mean, that was pretty much the only diet they were talking about back in the 70s. And it's beans and grains and not even, there's no meat. And eggs were used, cheese was used, and you try to find a balance with that. Now, my gosh, I gained so much weight. It was crazy.
That's tough there.
Yeah, and so but I wasn't a meat eater. I didn't want to kill animals. I had a really tough time with the Atkins, and I tried it for 3 months, and I was like, no, this is not working for me. I'm not a meat eater. I love to eat salmon once in a while. I didn't eat well, I barely ate any fish, and but the same with meats. It wasn't really my thing. So that was the easiest for me to leave out. And you know what was the most struggle for me to leave out of my diet? Cheese.
Yeah.
Little did I know how addictive cheese was.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had cheese in years, and then you eat a little, well, you want to see how it works. No, it doesn't work. Your body doesn't want it. You get mucus again, you're back in trouble again, and it's like, and still that's aged Dutch cheese.
To say one of the things I tend to hear a lot of is they'll come back to me and say, hey, my throat's sore. I'm getting I'm sweating. I had diarrhea, or I'm getting cold symptoms. I'm getting congested and my nose is running like crazy. And I said, well, good. That's what you want. That's what you need to happen. But we have to connect fruit to the result, not to the symptoms that are going to be created because you're doing this. So I always tell myself, look, people think that they're going to eat fruit for 2 days and they're going to be completely healed, look 25 again, and have the energy of a child. It's like, no, man, I've been at this for, at least 8 years, and I can pull off of it for a bit and I feel it. Trust me, I'll get the aches, I'll get pains, I get just pain down my spine, my upper neck. Acid. I tried to tell them, I said, look, there's only two chemistries to deal with in this world. We're either acidic or base, and we're trying to find that happy spot that our body wants to be at, but you have to connect. Like this is my average day. Like I mean, I work with a lot of clients, in their homes and stuff, and I could be working all afternoon and I'm telling myself, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Thai restaurant tonight. I'm gonna get pad Thai, or I'm gonna go get, a fish taco tonight or something, or I'm gonna go get this or that. But you know what's funny is all my decisions are based daily as I go. I don't sit here and say, well, tonight I'm gonna have da 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 fruit, this fruit, that. No, I don't ever do that. I just tell myself, what do I want to do today? How am I feeling? What do I want to eat? And usually by the time I'm done with the client, I'm usually tired. It's kind of late. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go by the grocery store and pick up a pack of watermelon, and I'll get a dip of some sort. I mean, like I said, typically my cravings usually avocado. I mean, some people, it depends on how it functions with where you are right now. Just to dip my plantain chips or whatnot, or a grain-free chip or something to give me that crunch and that smoothness. But when I get to that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. It's too late. I don't want to feel like that, like crap or anything. So I'm just gonna go and pick up some fruit, and I'll just pick it up and go home and eat that, But when I eat it, I feel amazing. I feel good about myself. I feel positive. My body is giving me feedback, and it just like it builds, But to every time you do something, a bad thing, you got to do three things good to overcome that negative, But I'm trying to get people to connect fruit to good, positive, fruit, positive, fruit, positive. But instead, they'll come back and say, well, the fruit made me all bloated and gassy, and I'm, my throat hurts, and I have diarrhea. And I was like, that's what the body's trying to do. It's trying to eliminate. This fruit is giving that body. Go ahead.
But you know what, Tom? We have been so disconnected from our body. We have given it over to the medical industry. You feel something in your body and it's like, oh, I need to go to a doctor. And we don't even think for ourselves anymore. And the part of my, call it teachings, guidance, is the connection with your body, and learn to embrace those weird feelings. You have a sore throat, it won't last. What does it matter? Okay, you have a sore throat. You have diarrhea. I can have diarrhea for, days at a time. But then again, when I was not on fruit, I think I had diarrhea 2/3 of my life. My body was so messed up. But then you think like, oh, that's normal. And now you have it. It's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And it's the fruit that causes it. Yeah, your body needs to adjust, and it definitely needs time to adjust. Give it time. There is no such thing as a 3-day or 7-day or 30-day detox and you're fine. It's not there. There is it's a detox pyramid. Where do you start? You have your standard, they call it standard American diet because the SAD is so much fun, the sad way of living. But it's not even a Western diet or American, it's worldwide, it's the same problem everywhere. And but then it goes into, you go to a Whole Foods, and then you go to vegan, and then the Whole Foods, you think that a Whole Foods based diet is healthy. It has the grains, it has the potatoes, it still has foods that your body cannot digest. And I think what is important to do, and we discuss this often, is realize people why food is not made for you. You were not born with the utensils that you all need to first kill an animal. And like the predators, they have everything they need to kill an animal and eat it. We don't. And it's the same with cooking, you have to cook a grain, otherwise, it's toxic. And how crazy is that? Why people don't think about that? Because they have been taught not to think. And what you already mentioned, the I have to say that word really fast, otherwise it doesn't come out. Messages, but you know what I mean. It's
Liminal. Yeah.
like what I said, it is absolutely everywhere. And I think that how can we get over it? It is by teaching what does certain foods in your body, and what does it mean to have the pains, because you have the pain. I mean, I thought I was eating healthy. If people would ask me, oh yeah, I'm on a healthy diet. Even now, if I ask people, tell me exactly what you eat. Oh, I'm on a healthy diet. Yeah, but what is healthy? We have been taught that eating grains is healthy. Then they tell us eating vegan is healthy. There's nothing healthy about eating vegan, because what you start eating is you want to have the same taste as the meat or the eggs and the cheese, so you have all the fake stuff. So it's all laboratory made, and we think now we eat healthy, and it's just as detrimental as other foods. And I think once we can clear up that all that food, everything that is in packages, read the labels. It's going to be, yeah, we even have crickets in it now. Dried crickets meal. Yeah, dried cricket meal. Anyway, it is the body doesn't recognize it. How can it? And once you know that, if you mentioned the pineapple, I mean, there's nothing that smells as good as a tree ripe pineapple. What happens? You start saliving. So your body is preparing to receive that pineapple already. And so it can digest it. Do you have that when you open a package? You put it in a pan, add water, and cook it up, and no, you don't. And it's like we think onions. Yeah, onions make you cry. Is that a normal reaction? Your body says no to the gases that come from it, and we still love eating it. If I made a healthy soup and all greens, but I added at least a bulb of garlic in it, I love the taste. I mean, it's totally crazy, because try to eat that whole bulb garlic raw. You will never eat a garlic again. So but if we do not understand all of this, then it is harder to do. So that is actually where I want to go, is with showing the whys of what is food doing in your body, and why shouldn't you eat it. And I mean, even the people that are really on this path already, they didn't know that potatoes, and I don't know if you are aware, there is a Anthony William medical medium. It's all potatoes in any which way. And I followed him for a long time. And a lot of my clients went through that same, and I have to say, for transitioning, okay. But a fruitarian, no, absolutely not. Potatoes are used in the glue industry. That's what they do. They and that's what they do in your body. Why would you think if it turns into glue, why don't you think it would do the same in your body? And it's the same with an avocado. Put an avocado in the water and let it sit overnight. You have a slimy, disgusting substance. And so that is, I can leave when I wash my grapes, I can leave them overnight in water. Nothing happens to them. I mean, they're still edible. They're still absolutely fine. Well, an avocado is absolutely not. And with a potato, sweet potato. I love sweet potato. And I always loved potatoes, regular white potatoes. Not anymore. I don't like them anymore. My taste has been changing. And both my husband and I mean, we're on the same thing, even though he's a truck driver. He's on the road 5 days a week. I don't see him then. He has all his food with him. And he still follows the same. So when people say it's so difficult and I work and I can't do it, sure you can. You make your smoothie the night before, you make your juice the night before, and if you have to leave in the morning at 5 or 6 or whatever time, you're ready to go.
I do it every day too.
Yeah, and you can do it. And he even has salads with him. and the salads stay good for 5 days. I make my own dressing, and it's all good stuff, and it tastes wonderful. So it's all doable, but it's yeah, you have to go for what is my goal, and that goes for people who are just starting, and for the people who are, at the highest level of acidosis, like cancer. My sister, she died of cancer last year, younger sister. And I once heard her that because she couldn't move anymore. She was kind of in a cast in bed because cancer was in her spine. Started in her bladder and then traveled to her spine. We know it doesn't work like that, but okay. And she said she had a great day, but yeah, she did have a cookie and she knew she shouldn't have that. And I'm like, okay, eat all the cookies you want, because you get to a point it doesn't make a difference anymore. But she didn't want to hear about fruit. And leaving out the healthy meals, the healthy fish. Because that's the thing. She never ate meat. But yeah, yogurt, ice cream, and she thought she was eating healthy.
Most of the, I mean, like, say most of the whole vegan thing we're bringing up is the vegan thing is a name of many masks. The vegan, when you hear vegan, all they think of is, oh, you're jaundiced looking, and you look sickly, and you're skinny, and and that's the misconception. How you said potatoes, grains, beans, organic yogurt, unpasteurized milk, seeds, nuts, and people, they assume just because it's not meat that's our food, and everything I just described to you is vegan, but it always causes horrible things to happen with, for instance, I heard this recently. Somebody said, man, you don't bat an eye about eating pizza or hot dogs or hamburgers or fast food or just junk, sandwiches and cheese and mayonnaise and things like that. You don't even bat an eye about it. But as soon as somebody brings up health foods or fruit, you become a researcher. But yet they never research anything.
I saw that message that you put out there. Yeah, it's they don't want to research the foods that they regularly eat. What you said, they don't bat an eye. It's like it's normal. And but yeah, now everybody it's like, no, fruit is not healthy. Cancer fruit, what is it? No, cancer feeds on fruit. And though that comes from people who have cancer. And when you ask them, were you a fruit eater throughout your life? Oh no, I didn't eat fruit at all. How the heck did you get cancer? Why do you have cancer? Now it's like you have cancer and you're told you cannot eat any fruit. Mm-hmm. Where is the logic in that? And that goes for many things. If it's not fruit, and it's candida. If it's not, I just saw something. If you have psoriasis, you should not eat this or that. And when you have blood type O, you need to eat meat. And I'm like, huh? Okay.
And I'm an O.
Yeah, so am I. And I haven't eaten meat for a long, long time. And it's not something that I missed. Even, you go to these grocery stores where they have this, or even when you pass by a burger, whatever, it's like, ugh, the smell of death.
I posted there was a comedian I follow recently, and it was so funny because I was just in that, whole discussion, and he's like, hey, I was telling my friends that I eat too much candy. And he said, and I just started to eat fruit instead of eating the candy. And his friends all started telling him, well, you need to be careful with that fruit. There's a lot of sugar in it. Nothing about the candy. And he's like, okay, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And if you can show me people that are addicted to pineapples that are too fat to walk through a door, then we'll go down that route. But I mean, do you see that? I stopped eating candy, started eating fruit, and the first thing they got was, well, you need to watch out for that fruit because there's a lot of sugar in it. Didn't even mention the thing about, oh, good for you, you're not eating candy anymore,
Yeah,
It's
but that is
pathetic.
where we need to re-educate. That is,
Mm.
they need to slowly guide people, tell them the difference, in sugars. I
Mm.
have people, no, you should not eat sugars because your brain needs fats. I have a book, and I think that was, oh my God, what is his name? He was one of the first people I started to listen to in the late 90s. And then he wrote a book that, fat would heal your health, eating
Mm.
fat. So, and he is a keto person to the max. And I was not talking about fruits at all. It's like, but those are people that you look up to, and even they come up with the wrong information. So we have a tough job in
Yeah.
in educating people, and we just can't give up, because we see people around us getting sicker and sicker. And you see cancer in children. You see what was considered an old people disease, and you see it in 20-year-olds or even younger. And sometimes, I hear somebody say, yeah, oh, well, I'm getting older. And I'm like, well, what's your diet? Because, there's
Exactly.
nothing,
It's
yeah.
one thing, excuse me, Tony, and I'm just so glad to be here, Tom, too. You both said amazing things, and I wanted to chime in so many times. But it's the one thing they didn't lie about. You are what you eat.
Yep.
We are what we eat. We're not supposed to be eating flesh of a bird, an animal, or sea life. And if we continue at the rate that we are, it's unsustainable. Not only is it bad for your body, so I'm all about the mind, body, and spirit connection, right? Because that's like culturally, like this is earth-wide, right? This problem with the meat eating and the slaughterhouses and the truth. And I don't want to look, and I'm not going to look, and no. It's only because we've been programmed. The minute I gave up cheese, my psoriasis was so bad it went away. When I was pregnant, and in 1995, I knew they were lying about pregnancy because it was a 10-month pregnancy. There's nothing 9 months about it. But they told me that I had to give up cheese because of my gallbladder. I had pain. And I gave up cheese, for a little bit, and the pain went away. So everyone said great things, listen to your body. For me, it's keeping it real simple. It's having good habits. I'm a juicer. It's so funny you brought up that, Tom. Because this is a mind, body, and spirit connection. When I prepare my water, I filter it through my zero filter, and I have carafes, and I hold the carafe and I sing, because it took a while. I couldn't turn off my mind of the chatter of, the 60 years of lies and, the self-hate and all that. So I would just sing out loud with a smile on my face, praise and peace and gratitude and goodness, because we know that water has memory. Water has secrets. We are water. And I say happiness and healing and forgiveness and faithful and forever and sacred, love, solitude, thanks, and I just keep going on. I take every letter of the alphabet and I think of all and then I pour the water, and then I juice the water, and then I pour the water, and I hold the water, and I stock it, because I fast basically morning and afternoon, and then do I cheat? Let me tell you something. You're right. Potatoes are bad. They are like the worst. So what do I like? The kettle chips. But guess what? They make them now with avocado oil, which is because all those seed oils will give you that pain. So when I heard you talking about the pain before, you got your knee pain, your joint pain, your hip pain, elbow pain, wrist pain from carpal tunnel, and all these pains. And then, but think about the animals and their pain. Like, I just can't even, like, I want to see it in my lifetime. And I don't think it's going to come, because people all over the world, they just love grilling up dead bodies, and it's just, anyway, so many good things said. But then I drink my juice but I have vegan pizza. I do the cauliflower crust with my vegan cheese and my marinara. And, so I'm a little bit of a cheater too. I'm not a nut. I've seen people do the dry fast, and they're like doubled over in pain, and they're like killing themselves, and they look like they look like they got ran over by a truck, one of them.
That dry fasting thing is a huge misnomer. I mean, you should never dry fast more than a day. I mean, because if you're not, I always tell people, don't even try going into fasting until you get onto fruit for a couple weeks, because you're gonna hit a wall. If you're not well, and you listen to somebody and you just start trying to dry fast, you are going to kick up so much trash, and your kidneys aren't ready for it. You're not ready to.
No, I wasn't promoting it. Just
No, not you. I mean, in general. Yeah, in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I just mean as far as like, because people are doing that. But when I tell people that, it's like, look, dry fasting is an amazing kick start. You can really get stuff going. But I tell them, do fruit for a couple of weeks first, get the body kind of used to it and get the body flowing, and then start doing intermittent fasting. And then I'll tell them, once you get to that point, every so often, you can do a 24, 30-hour dry fast, but don't push it too much further than that. But like I said, my only thing is, it's a good thing, but they need to go for the fruit first, get their body somewhat acclimated, and then they'll be strong enough to be able to handle, a dry fast.
I was actually just going to finish up with, when you spoke about the spinal bifida case, and Toni, you spoke of the opposite case with the spine. And I do believe, that healing, that you witnessed, Tom, from what I heard, that's just amazing, that we are miraculous beings, and many of this stuff comes from the mind. And so that's why I surround my juice and my water with those intentions. And it was hard in the very beginning, believe me, because I was going into my kitchen thinking about this. And in the beginning, like, I was going in with a podcast on, but there is something to be said about, being still and silent. And so all of this, I mean, it's just so mind, body, and soul for me, that, and I think that because we're at the end of, the old, and God willing, the new world is going to be coming in, where, like supermarkets for me have always been, I never got them. I did eating processed foods, which is, and I was kind of lucky just because my father was a hunter. So I, just seeing him do it once with the hanging upside down and the skinning and the gutting and bringing it into the house, I mean, that was enough for me. But I didn't get into the fruits really seriously until I wanted to turn my body into more alkaline, to be healthy, to never get sick, to be able to heal myself, to be able to, be fit, and so stretching is a big part of that for me. I've got to get on the floor and I've got to stretch, and all of my thoughts have to be good. My goal every day is to wake up and just have God in my mind, and I'm thanking him and I make gratitude, but it never is. But it's my second thing on my mind. But I'll get there. And so it's practice, and so connecting with the right people is also really important, because you never want to tell somebody to go into a dry fast. I mean, I think that is total insanity, unless I was in a desert and I had to survive on dry fasting. But no, you have to prepare into everything the right way. And so, what more can I say? I am happy to be here. I think that it's a shame there's only 3 of us here. But, we do need to get the gunk out of us, right? We look under our hood. How often? You lift the hood, right? The mechanic who you pay to clean your car, and nobody looks under their own hood. It's really sad that,
You're taught not to think, Jamie. That's what it is. They teach us not to think. They give us fact checkers. They give us constant commercials and subliminal messages and cartoons for kids and movies and music. If they would do fruit. I don't know if y'all remember as children. I don't know how old everybody is, but I remember it was called Conjunction Junction on Saturday morning cartoons. And it would tell you, yes, 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 no, no, no. It'd be like, juices and fruits and all that kind of stuff. And then meat and chocolate, no, 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 and, et cetera. But if they would do subliminal messages of fruit, you'd be surprised the whole change, because people don't know why they're frustrated. They don't know why they don't want it, but they're told over and over and over to deny these things,
Well, I think part of it is because it was stolen from us, like the real seeds of that beautiful strawberry. And, it's funny you mentioned bananas and making the ice cream out of bananas. I don't think you meant putting cream in it, but I'm going to go out and get some bananas today, because it's a great thing to unpeel when they're ripe and then put in the freezer. And so I'm going to enjoy that. And I do that rarely. But I like to change it up, so there's mornings where I'll wake up and I'll take Celtic sea salt and I'll take 3 little rocks of that and I'll put it on my tongue, and then I'll drink my filtered water. If I happen to have a fresh lemon, I'll add the lemon. And so I like to change. I don't like to be monotonous, but I do the one. I'm kind of hooked on the red and the green grape juice, but I also juice celery and carrot on occasion, but always with the filtered water, half and half. And the plug for the bullet is huge, because that thing is so powerful and so great for smoothies, and just such even the basil, chopping up things. It is really a powerhouse. And these are all the little secrets, so I feel good that we got a leg up on a lot of these things. I didn't realize you were both seeing patients. I'm not sure if you're doctors. I am not. I'm a college dropout, and I just kind of left my job because it was too much. So, but I'm on this journey, and we are what we eat, so I'm being very kind to myself. And I think it's very important because, even the tone outside, I am kind to others, so that, hopefully we can raise this vibration. And then once I didn't know about Paul McCartney, but one of his oldest quotes is, if the slaughterhouses were glass houses, they'd be shut down, and so, and we're all in denial about that. Even people that are open-minded people, and even people that know what is actually really going on right now in the with all the lies and the indoctrination and the theft and everything, and everything. But it's about, I believe, it's got to end, but even children, it's going to take time. I talk about this, no one agrees with me, and this doesn't have to do with fruit, but we don't teach the metric measurements, but we weigh fruit in metric measurements, but we can't, because we don't know how. Other countries, when they call for they're making an apple pie, they will have the measurements in metric. And we don't know. And we're only one of 3 countries that don't teach it. And I think it's absurd. But anyway, it's kind of just like the slaughterhouses that, we have to stop doing what we're doing to that beautiful sentient beings. But until that happens, we can't just sit by, it's either us, we have to get involved. So I'm getting involved, and I'm making it like my life's passion to get involved. And I may not see it in my lifetime, but I'm going to rise up and get involved.
It has a ripple effect. I'm sorry, Tom, what did you want to say?
I was going to say, just to reiterate on what you said earlier about, the seeds and things, this is the biggest thing I get from people. And I know that it's something that's being pushed. They're infiltrating, the fruitarian groups, and they're trying to put out a lot of propaganda, which I know, we do have things they're putting on fruit that's gonna, that's why typically most of fruit has peels, but do not be concerned about the seeds or the sprays and things of that nature. Wash your fruit the best you can. And don't worry, because the hydration into our interstitial fluids is what eliminates these pesticides and these toxins and these. If you have a clean body that's interstitially hydrated and the lymphatic system, our immune system, it can flush out cobra toxins, venoms, bee stings, spider bites, vaccines. Your interstitial fluid is designed to remove anything, but they're trying to scare people. Well, they're talking about fruit, but they said don't eat fruit because it doesn't have seeds or it doesn't have this. Even the poorest of fruit is 100 times better than the non-human species, vegan things or meat. 100 times. The poorest of the fruit is better than anything of the other side. And they're trying to scare people. I was like, look, don't use your mind and your heart. Use your intuition and your discernment. God gave us that discernment so that we can see through the deception. And that's why I just want to make sure that people are like, look, don't listen to the propaganda. Clean your fruit the best you can and eat it, because you're not always going to be given that perfect fruit. There's going to be days where we're not even going to have stores to go through, so you have to be able to learn to get your body healthy, hydrated interstitially, and it will take care of you regardless of what they put in you.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Jamie, for sharing with us. I do want to add, I heard you say something about salt, and when I hear salt, it's always a red flag for me. I will be posting in that in Donna's group the video we did about salt, and I think everybody should listen to that one, because that was it's a longer one and a good one. We usually only do a 1 hour to 1 hour and 15-minute show, and I think that was almost 2 hours. But there was so much to share about the why not salt, that it is important for people to listen to. I do want to add, when you talked about the toxins that you may get in and how to get them out of the body, it is like keep drinking water. That's one of the things I keep seeing in the Fruitarian groups. Oh, there's enough water, and that's the water you need in the fruit. We don't get enough of it. We get dehydrated, still get dehydrated. The toxins don't come out. You get digestive issues. So please do drink your water. And I have to keep telling myself that constantly too. I absolutely love what you said about water, Jamie. That's beautiful. And to consciously eat and drink and be grateful is a big part too. And what you said about, it is body, mind, and spirit, and it absolutely is. It's everything together. It's the joy of seeing the life around you too. About, I was happy for a long time when for the first time in many, many years, I saw a big bumblebee in my flowers. It's these little things, and that keeps you going. And once you see more of the beauty in nature, and I tend to ignore the drama around me. There is no room for drama in my life. And that's a big part. That's a big created part of our life. We don't need that. And yes, the negative thoughts, replacing them with positive thoughts. I really had to do that. And sometimes it's like, well, it's like you tell a kid, like, oh, you have a negative thought. Now think of a positive thought. Is it that simple? Yeah, if you keep doing it. And that's how I actually overcame the negativity in my brain. But I do have to say, being on a high frequency foods absolutely helped, because it was, when I was on all fruit, it was like, that big dark cloud hanging over me was lifted and everything became easier. So that is the goal, the end results, to feel happy, to feel balanced, to be able to do what you really love to do. And it will all come together. Things fall into place. So I'm going to end this podcast. We have a lot to talk about we always do. You know, on the next show, Sarah will be back then, Tom. I hope, Jamie, we have these podcast. I don't really like to call it a show, because it's on a show, it's like it's a show. It's like it's not real, but it is a word that we've been using. We do this every week. I have been doing this actually even before I did it with Sarah. So it's almost 3 years now. And we always look forward to it. It's you know, we only do it an hour. And it started as a health Q&A. People could ask questions and we answered them, and it became a chat, sometimes between us, sometimes with guests, but everybody can come on. But yeah, I don't know why people hesitate to have their voice heard, because I know everybody has to share a lot. We all have so much knowledge and experiences, and it is good to hear. You know, you don't always need to hear my voice. It's because I start repeating things. But yeah, it's good to hear other people too. So both of you, thank you so much for being here. And I would say I look forward to the next time. So much love to you guys, and you know, till the next time.
Thank you, Toni. Thank you, Jamie.